And we are live. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let me turn this light down. It's pretty freaking loud. I'm a little overexposed. At any rate, we're back on my channel. Welcome back. This is my second live stream ever. And I thought it was an appropriate time to come back on your timeline because I just wanted to pop in and share about this topic of the video. It's all about becoming and law of assumption and law of attraction. And for those of you who are just joining me for the first time, my name is Brittnay. I am your manifesting mentor, and I like to call myself a mentor, not a coach, because for me, a mentor is more so someone who shares lessons and wisdom based on their own personal experience. Whereas a coach doesn't necessarily have to have the experience, but they are really, really great at being a huge champion for you to stay on your journey, stay on your path, and inspiring you to believe in yourself. So I think there's a little difference there. And it's why I use the catchphrase, your manifesting mentor. Not that I'm not good at the other thing, because I am too, but that's neither here nor there. So you came here probably because you saw the title. And I just wanted to talk about it because the last video that I did, I went back and watched that before going live here. Oh, this is bothering me. And I went back and watched it, and I just wanted to like look at it for anything that I could potentially talk about as it relates to where I am in my journey. So right now, um, one of the biggest lessons that's continuing to come up for me is how manifesting is not, necessarily about getting, right? Like I think I spoke about that in my last video, where we have to understand that we are unfolding and becoming when you start this journey of intentionally manifesting, because ultimately we're always manifesting, whether you're aware of it or not. Right now, the word manifestation and manifesting is pretty cliche because people are just throwing it around. It became very popularized with The Secret, and people assimilated with like the law of not assimilate. Oh my gosh, people associated with like the law of attraction. And I think the biggest lesson or the biggest thing that gets lost in the sauce is the becoming part. We hear about how, or the great mystics have taught that we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are, right? And that in and of itself implies that in order to have the life that you want, you have to become the version of you that has that. And which means it's going to require you to change in some way. Um, First and foremost, here, the mentality, the mindset, right? Because again, if we understand the basics of law of attraction, law of assumption, we understand that it's all about your thoughts. They guide your actions and how they influence your emotions, or vice versa. Your emotions influence your thoughts influence your emotions. You guys can learn all about these things in other videos all over YouTube. But today I just wanted to touch on just some of the things that I'm understanding in my own journey as it relates to becoming, right? So, part of what I'm becoming more aware of is the possibilities or the potential of infinite realities. Um, I've been on this path for a very long time, most of my adult life, when it comes to learning about law of attraction. Law of assumption is a little bit newer, I would say about the last 6, 7 years, since I've come across the teachings of Neville Goddard and a few other great teachers on the subject. But one of the things that I've tapped into more recently is the science behind a lot of these spiritual teachings. I think we're in a great time in humanity where we are now marrying science and religion, or spirituality. Once upon a time, science and religion used to be at odds. The people in the scientific field thought that the people in the religion or spiritual field were woo woo weirdos. And then the people in the religious and spirituality field thought that people in science were blasphemous because why they're always exploring and trying to figure out how to be God or gods and manipulate things and you know. But now we're in a really unique space in human existence where we're understanding that we need them both. They help validate one another. They help us understand our existence and purpose here. And that's where I'm at in my journey, where I'm learning to infuse lessons and evidence from both reality or both uh, constructs. So, yeah, so first things first is aligning with infinite realities. So, part of what I'm learning when it comes to manifesting is that, again, you don't get what you want, you get what you are, which means that if there are infinite potentials of infinite realities, then I have the option of aligning with any one of these realities, whatever it may be, right? I can align with it. And what does it mean to align? So, alignment, at least from what I'm understanding with like Neville's teachings, is basically assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. Neville talks a lot about this. That's actually his phrase. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled, meaning assume that you are already the version of you that has the things that you want, the life that you want, the relationship you want, and assume that it already is so. And assuming that it's already so means that you act natural as if it's already yours. What would you do? How would you think from that space of already having that wish fulfilled? And so when you align with whatever version of you has that thing, that life from those aspects, then that's how you allow yourself to be able to receive guidance, inspired action to take, um, like emotional regulation, like how would that person respond emotionally to this scenario, that version of you, how would that version of you respond to anything that may come your way, different conversations, how you carry yourself in the world, so on and so forth. Another thing I'm learning is that in order to become, you kind of got to know what you're working with. You got to understand what are the tools in your toolbox versus what you already have that you came to this existence, this experience with, or what you've become so far, and um, how to close the gap between what you already are or who you already are and where you want to be or who you want to be. So, for example, mindset, understanding mindset and the workings of the human mind and how it may work for or against what it is that you're actually working towards. So that means if you can get a little bit of knowledge of your psychology, like how do I process information? Like how do I process different things? What are my triggers? Um, what beliefs have I been fed that I have held on to? And are those beliefs helping me or hindering me in my journey? Um, and if the answer is that these things are not helping me, then what do I need to do? Right? And that's where you're going to get into like maybe personal development, maybe understanding mindset work, understanding how to reprogram your subconscious mind, understanding the subconscious mind in general. Again, I won't get into that in this video. There's tons of videos on the internet, tons of great books. Great place to start is Psycho Cybernetics by John C. Maxwell or The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Those are really great books that I highly recommend if you want to learn about that. The next thing you probably want to understand is the laws of life or spirituality. You don't have to be religious, you don't have to be spiritual. But if you're going to be intentional about your creations, you kind of want to understand what's out there to work with. Like, what can I work with? And here's the thing, there's so much information out there. There are so many tools that you can use, there's so many things you can tune into. But ultimately, unless you try them for yourself and pretty much prove to yourself that it's something that works, it's all of it is useless. That's pretty much all of it is useless unless you apply it. Like my guy Neville says it all the time. Like, don't just be hearers of the word. Don't just be somebody who's sitting on the bench and being an onlooker and just coming across information and not trying it out and not applying it, because otherwise it's useless, you know. And who has time for that? Um yeah, but you want to know, like, what am I working with? Like, yeah, we stumbled across the law of attraction. What is it? What does it mean? Like, how does it work? Again, this the topic that I added in the title of this video is law of assumption, taught by Neville Goddard and many other people since then. What is it? How does it work? And how does the way that I think and show up, how does that play into how this law can help me, or how I may be working against the law, however that may be. You kind of want to understand that. Not kind of, you do. Because, again, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. You can hear about a lot of different things, but until you actually apply it and see how it works for you, it's just like a book on the shelf collecting dust. You want to know what you're doing, how to use these tools to your advantage, um, and see the results of your efforts. So, if you understand these things a little bit better, then you can easily go there and you can easily adjust. Again, I don't believe in mistakes. I call them lessons. And you can't learn your lessons if you don't get in the game and actually learn what you're working with and try these things out. So, next is, I think I already touched on laws of psychology. So just understanding the workings of the human mind. Again, I mentioned the subconscious, understanding how it works. Also understanding just like how humans in general work, like how trauma works, how is it that things work easier for some people versus others. There's a number of factors that go into the human brain and how it works, and it's pretty fascinating, guys. Um, but more than anything, on the journey of becoming is cultivating patience. I think patience is huge because, don't get me wrong, people, you can manifest anything and you can do it fairly quickly, some things faster than others. But I think if you focus more on who you're becoming, then you have a little bit more grace, and you give yourself some room to actually grow, right? Because a lot of times we want what we want and we want it now. And now isn't always the time for the things that we want. Otherwise, you'd have it, right? But I reference my guy, Michael Beckwith, quite a bit in my videos because he talks about how anybody can manifest on a whim, but unless you become a vibrational match to whatever that is you manifested, you won't be able to maintain it, right? Like you can get your dream job, but unless you become the version of you that's awesome at the job, that's growing in the job, that thrives, you probably won't keep it very long. I can manifest my dream job right now today, but unless I'm intentional about growing and understanding the job and the role that's expected of me, I probably won't last in that position, whatever it may be. And the same in relationships, the same with friendships, the same with everything in our lives. Like, there's going to be seasons, right? You're going to be exposed to new information. You're going to need to give yourself time to implement that information, to make quote unquote mistakes or learn lessons, and then tweak, and pivot. And you may start, stop, pause, and then begin again. But again, if you understand or you focus on the becoming part, then it becomes less about the getting and more about who am I becoming. Am I becoming more stable in my emotional state? Am I becoming more stable mentally? Am I becoming more stable in my new belief system? Am I becoming more stable in existing, um, in high performance? Am I becoming more stable in my routines and, showing up consistently? Am I becoming more stable in being disciplined um, with my routine? And so that is going to really help if you can understand that the it's all about processes and seasons. And we, as Neville would say, are operating from a particular state at any given point in time, right? And if you're operating from a particular state, sometimes it might require that you take the time to, or it might require that a shifting from one state to the next takes a little bit of time or effort on your part until you do it enough that it becomes natural and you're more stable in that state. Again, you can find videos on YouTube about these things, but I just really wanted to come on because I was starting to see a lot of this community talking of manifesting and a lot of the, manifest your SP or manifest your dream job quickly. And it's cute and it's possible. People do it all the time. Some things I manifest like this. And then there are other things that don't come quite so quickly because there's a lot of resistance there. There's a lot of subconscious beliefs that contradict what I might be wanting to manifest at this moment. Does it mean that it's not possible? Absolutely not. Anything is possible. Everything that I believe can be true for me can absolutely be true for me and will make manifest. But if I have resistance to those things that I'm still wanting, then I'm going to need to practice grace and patience with myself. I'm going to need to learn how to radically forgive myself for quote unquote mistakes or not getting it right, right? Or reacting to my reality. I'm going to need to step back and forgive myself. I'm going to need to do the same to other people in my reality. Because again, we're all just learning and growing, and everybody can change. Everybody, especially if you understand law of assumption and everything is you pictured outwardly. When you understand these principles and you accept it as true for you, because there's always choice. The subconscious is never going to make you wrong. Whatever you tell it is true will be true. um, but if you understand that, then you know that anything is possible and you can always make manifest whatever you're believing. I kind of got off track. I forgot where I was going with that one. But I just wanted to say that like everybody can change. Anybody can change. And forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness sets me free, but it also sets other people free in our reality. And if you're somebody who wants to establish, harmonious relationships, you're gonna have to let some shit go. Excuse my language. You're gonna have to let things go and be willing to move on from whatever story you used to tell to a new reality. If you understand that we're all just operating out of certain states, then, you might talk to somebody and they say something really offensive to you because maybe they're emotional at that particular time. That's the state that they're in that particular time. But, a week from now, they may not be in that state anymore. And you may feel like you deserve an apology and you may well deserve that apology, but you got to give people room to know that like we're human. We're going to react sometimes. We're not going to be perfect. um we're going to make assumptions that aren't based in truth for everybody else, so we're going to have to learn how to be a lot more flexible in what we hold as truths. And so I'm going to actually wrap this video up because I think I touched on everything I wanted to. When it comes to becoming, you can't skip this step in manifesting. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to do the things I need to do to manifest this thing," and then stop doing those things. No, like, if you don't continue to do the things that you did to get the thing that you want, whether it's a relationship, a job, whatever, then you're not always going to be a vibrational match and it might disappear from your reality. And when I say disappear, I mean maybe you grow apart from the job, from the person, maybe you get fired, and I'm not speaking any of this on anyone. Oops. Not speaking any negativity on anyone. I'm just saying like it behooves you to develop these routines. It behooves you to learn the lessons and be consistent in your new mindset and your new mental diet and your new assumptions and your new routines, as you wish to exist as the one who already has the life and the things that you desire. As you continue to persist in those things, then that becomes the new version of you who can then sustain everything that you manifest. So that's all I wanted to come on and talk about today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I can't guarantee that I'll be showing up super frequently, but I will say this: I want to be intentional every time I pop up on your screen. So if you're watching this video, you enjoyed what spoke about in this video, feel free to comment. Tell me what part stood out to you most or something that you'd like me to elaborate on. And that helps me be more intentional with what I show up to share or talk about as your manifesting mentor as I'm working through my own personal journey. Um, and just sharing some of the lessons and wisdom that I learned. So, if you could do that, also like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notifications button so you know when I go live. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.